The award plaque slipped from Ethan Cole's trembling hands and shattered across the polished marble floor. 3 years in a row, he had been named the company's top seller. 3 years of arriving before sunrise, leaving long after sunset, raising his little daughter alone after losing his wife, and sacrificing every dream he ever had. Yet on the day everyone believed he would finally become regional sales director, the chairman smiled proudly and handed the promotion to his own daughter, a woman with barely 6 months of experience. In that single moment, the applause around Ethan sounded distant, his years of loyalty became meaningless, and the future he had spent every waking hour building disappeared before his eyes. Sometimes the greatest success is born from the deepest betrayal. If you believe kindness, hard work, and second chances still matter in this world, please consider supporting Heart Kindness Tales and share your thoughts below as you enjoy this story. For 12 years Ethan had dedicated his life to Brightstone Consumer Solutions, one of the fastest-growing retail companies in the country. Every sales chart carried his name at the top. Every difficult client eventually became a loyal customer because Ethan understood something many people forgot. People did not buy products. They bought trust. His calm smile, patient listening, and sincere promises turned impossible accounts into lifelong partnerships. Managers often joked that if Ethan could not close a deal, nobody could. Yet none of them truly understood what his victories cost him. Every morning before dawn, Ethan prepared breakfast for his 8-year-old daughter, Nora. He braided her hair with clumsy fingers that had learned through years of trial and error after her mother's passing. He packed lunches, checked homework, washed uniforms, and whispered encouraging words before driving her to school. Only after making sure she smiled would he begin his own demanding workday. His colleagues admired his discipline, but very few knew he often skipped meals to save money for Nora's education or stayed awake until midnight helping her with school projects before reviewing sales reports. The chairman rarely noticed these sacrifices. Victor Langford cared about numbers, quarterly profits, and public appearances. As long as Ethan continued breaking sales records, the chairman considered everything else irrelevant. Whenever shareholders praised Ethan during annual meetings, Victor simply smiled politely and reminded everyone that success belonged to the company, not individuals. When rumors spread that the regional sales director position would soon become available, nearly everyone believed Ethan's promotion was guaranteed. Even newer employees looked forward to working under someone respected for both competence and kindness. Ethan himself avoided celebrating too early, but deep inside he allowed himself a small hope. The higher salary would mean moving Nora into a better neighborhood, replacing their aging car, and finally taking the vacation he had promised her every birthday since she was 5. The announcement ceremony arrived on a bright spring morning. Employees filled the conference hall wearing formal clothes while photographers prepared cameras near the stage. Ethan sat quietly in the second row, rehearsing a speech of gratitude he might never have the chance to deliver. Across the room sat Sophia Langford, the chairman's daughter. She had joined the company only months earlier after finishing business school abroad. Friendly and confident, she possessed impressive academic credentials but almost no real-world experience. Most employees assumed she would learn under Ethan before eventually earning leadership through hard work. Instead, Victor stepped to the microphone with unmistakable pride. After praising the company's remarkable growth, he announced that the future demanded fresh vision and bold leadership. Without mentioning Ethan's years of dedication, he introduced Sophia as the new regional sales director. Thunderous applause echoed through the room, though much of it came from obligation rather than genuine excitement. Ethan remained frozen in his chair. He clapped politely for several seconds before realizing his hands had stopped moving altogether. Around him, co-workers exchanged uncomfortable glances. Nobody dared meet his eyes. They knew exactly what had happened, yet no one possessed enough influence to change it. Later that afternoon, Victor invited Ethan into his office. Rather than apologizing, he explained that family leadership ensured stability for investors. He assured Ethan that his loyalty remained valuable and suggested he continue focusing on sales where he excelled. A modest bonus would be added to his salary as appreciation. The words landed like stones. Years of sacrifice had been reduced to a financial consolation prize. That evening Ethan picked up Nora from school. She noticed his unusual silence immediately. Children often recognize heartbreak before adults admit it exists. During dinner she quietly placed half her dessert onto his plate even though chocolate pudding was her favorite. She never asked what had happened. She simply reached across the table and squeezed his hand. That tiny gesture broke something inside him. After Nora fell asleep, Ethan opened his laptop and typed a resignation letter. He thanked the company for the opportunities, expressed appreciation for colleagues who had become friends, and wished everyone continued success. He never mentioned favoritism or disappointment. Sometimes dignity speaks loudest through silence. The resignation shocked the entire office. Clients called repeatedly asking whether the rumors were true. Several attempted convincing Ethan to stay, but his decision had already been made. He accepted a smaller position at a struggling regional distributor that most industry experts predicted would fail within a year. Many considered him foolish. Some whispered that pride had destroyed his career. Others believed he would eventually return to Brightstone begging for another chance. None of them understood that peace is worth more than prestige. The new company lacked modern offices, expensive furniture, and prestigious titles. What it possessed instead was honesty. The founder listened carefully to Ethan's ideas, encouraged teamwork, and judged employees by merit rather than family connections. Although resources were limited, every success felt meaningful because everyone had earned it together. Life remained difficult. Ethan still worried about bills, balanced parenting alone, and often repaired broken office equipment himself because the company could not afford replacements. Yet every evening he returned home with genuine energy instead of emotional exhaustion. Nora noticed the difference. Her father laughed more often. Weekend breakfasts became traditions filled with pancakes, music, and conversations about dreams rather than worries. Meanwhile Brightstone's sales slowly declined. Sophia worked tirelessly, genuinely wanting to prove she deserved her position, but leadership required experience that no university could teach overnight. Without Ethan's mentorship, longtime clients gradually accepted offers from competitors. Talented employees resigned one after another, frustrated by decisions driven more by appearances than practical understanding. 3 years passed. The struggling distributor Ethan had joined transformed into one of the industry's fastest-growing companies. His philosophy of building relationships instead of chasing quick profits attracted loyal customers nationwide. The small office expanded into multiple branches. Employees spoke proudly about a workplace where ideas mattered more than family names. Ethan eventually became Chief Commercial Officer, not because someone owed him a favor, but because every result supported the decision. One autumn afternoon, an invitation arrived for the National Retail Leadership Conference. Ethan almost declined. Business schedules were crowded, and public recognition no longer interested him. Then he noticed Brightstone listed among the participating companies. Curiosity persuaded him to attend. The conference ballroom glittered with elegant decorations, familiar faces, and influential executives. As Ethan walked through the entrance, conversations paused. Former colleagues recognized him immediately. Many smiled warmly before gathering around to congratulate him on his remarkable success. News of his company's growth had spread throughout the industry. Standing near the stage was Victor Langford. Age had softened his confident posture. The booming company he once controlled had lost significant market share. Several investors had withdrawn support after years of disappointing performance. Victor slowly approached Ethan. For several moments neither man spoke. Finally, Victor admitted something he had never imagined saying. He confessed that promoting family over merit had been the greatest mistake of his career. He admitted losing Ethan had cost the company far more than any quarterly report could measure. He even revealed that Sophia herself had repeatedly insisted Ethan should have received the promotion years earlier. She had carried the burden of that unfair decision despite never asking for special treatment. Ethan listened quietly. There was no anger left. Only understanding. Bitterness had disappeared long ago, replaced by lessons learned through struggle. He shook Victor's hand sincerely, wished Brightstone success, and walked toward the stage where he was scheduled to deliver the conference's keynote address. Hundreds of business leaders filled the audience. Instead of speaking about sales techniques or financial strategies, Ethan spoke about character. He explained that talent attracts customers, but integrity keeps them. Titles may be awarded through influence, but respect must always be earned. The strongest leaders lift others instead of protecting family privilege. Every employee carries unseen burdens, and compassion often creates greater profit than pressure ever can. The audience rose together in a standing ovation. Among those applauding the loudest stood Sophia, tears shining in her eyes as she acknowledged the leader she had always believed deserved that opportunity. Months later, Brightstone and Ethan's company announced a partnership rather than a rivalry. Ethan insisted on collaboration instead of revenge. His decision preserved hundreds of jobs and proved that forgiveness can accomplish what resentment never will. That evening Ethan returned home where Nora, now a confident young teenager, waited with homemade cupcakes to celebrate his successful speech. Looking around their modest but joyful home, Ethan realized the promotion he once desperately wanted would never have given him the life he truly needed. Sometimes losing the opportunity you believed would change your life is exactly what leads you toward the future you were meant to build. If this story touched your heart, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments and know what lesson stayed with you the most.